boy Brandon Brevon Towns with another episode of Sports Plus Life. And y'all already know it's about to go down today, so guess what? Say turn it off, turn it all the way off, boy. Ha ha. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, and again, I am the host of Sports Plus Life, that sports show where we discuss all of the hot topics that need to be discussed about. If this is your first time if this is your first time listening, definitely hit that subscribe button. Don't hesitate to leave any comments under the comment box, and I will get back to you personally. I promise you that. But guess what, everybody? Happy New Year! Okay? Happy New Year! This is the first show of Sports Plus Life in the new year, and I'll just go ahead and say it. It's Tuesday, January 7th, 2020 vision, biatch. Yeah, 2020, how you doing? What you looking like? I'm gonna tell you, 2020 has already got something different that we haven't seen in a few years, but I'm gonna get to that in a second. So, how's everybody doing? It's an ugly, rainy day here in the Richmond, VA. I've been contemplating taking a nap pretty much for the last 3 hours, but I'm here, and it's all good because it's a lot of things to talk about. So without further ado, let's get to it. Boy, I already said that 2020 has already produced something that we haven't seen in a while, and I'm going to go straight into the Wildcard Round of the NFL playoffs. And what is different is the Patriots are out! Yes! The New England Patriots are done! God damn it, finally! There will be a new representative in the AFC this year. Woo-hoo! The Patriots, for the first time in 10 years, as I said the last show, the first time in 10 years, had to play on Wildcard Weekend. No bye week. Thank you, Miami Dolphins, for making that happen. And sure enough, the Tennessee Titans walked into Foxborough and defeated the now former Super Bowl champion New England Patriots 20-13. And I was just kind of stunned because I'm just like, Patriots ain't finna lose to the Titans. And not the fact that the Titans won, but it's the way that the Titans won. We all know that the Patriots were lacking wide receiver weapons, but I'm not crying a river for them for that. Okay, the bottom line is that after week one, nobody was crying about how much Tom Brady didn't have any weapons. People were saying, was anybody gonna beat this team? This team may go 16-0 because on their roster, after week one, and they had a Sunday night beatdown of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is usual for the Patriots against the Steelers anyway. After that game, on their roster for wide receivers was Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, Antonio Brown, and Demaryius Thomas. You know what? You get rid of Josh Gordon because I think you probably had a bug in your ear that he was going to get suspended. We all know what happened with Antonio Brown. And the biggest mistake is you traded Demaryius Thomas to make more room for Antonio Brown. I mean, I was just dumb. But we all knew that they were depleted with weapons. But we all know when you go play a Bill Belichick team, what's Bill Belichick going to do? He is going to move heaven and earth to stop your best weapon. Well, we know the Titans' best weapon is Derrick Henry. We know that. Led the league in rushing this year, over 1,500 yards. I fully expected, if the Titans were going to pull an upset, for them to have to put the game into Ryan Tannehill's hand because Belichick was going to leave you no other choice. And that didn't happen. Derrick Henry ran wild on the Patriots. 34 carries, 182 yards, and a touchdown. Derrick Henry was their whole offense, pretty much. Ryan Tannehill only threw for 72 yards. Think about that. A Bill Belichick coach team got beat by a person throwing for 72 yards. 72 yards. And you knew their best weapon was their running back, and you couldn't stop them anyway. Boy, that was something gorgeous to watch. The game was 14-13 at halftime. And I said, there ain't no way that the Titans are going to win this game 14-13. They're going to have to, I mean, it's in Foxborough. This could possibly be Brady's last game and all of that stuff. The Patriots are going to do something. When it got down to crunch time, under 5 minutes, the Titans just kept getting first downs. And what the most amazing thing is that Belichick was out-coached by his former player, Mike Vrabel. He was. Those 2 straight delay of games penalties, running up the clock on fourth down was brilliant. Brilliant. And then when you get the ball again and you have to punt, it's still 14-13. And the punter and the Titans, who have the best punter in football, pins the Patriots down to the 1 yard line with 15 seconds left. And I'm like, oh shit, this is about to happen. They're about to lose. They ain't even getting out the first round this year. Next play, Tom Brady throws a pick six to former Patriot Logan Ryan. I was like, that's a wrap. Even though if I was Logan Ryan, thinking about it, I would have been more aware of the situation. I just slid. Patriots didn't have any timeouts. After the interception, I wouldn't have took it to the house. I just slid on the ground. That's it. Game over. But either way, didn't matter. The Patriots are out. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Everybody outside of Foxborough, Massachusetts is just thrilled. The Tennessee Titans have done NFL football fans the biggest solid that you can do, because I know I speak for millions of people who say we are sick of the Patriots cheating ass. We are tired of them.
Fuck you, and fuck you.
Go home.
Biatch.
And now the question is, Tom Brady. Where's Tom Brady going to play? He's going to be a free agent for the first time ever. Is Tom Brady getting old? Yada, 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 yada. I mean, of course Tom Brady is getting old. He's 42. But, of course, with every great athlete, when he starts to age, especially an all-time great athlete like Brady, when he starts to age, a lot of people don't want to let it go. So they're going to say, well, he didn't have enough weapons and all of that other stuff. I mean, look, what happened with his receiving core is what can happen during the course of a football season. I mean, like I said, after week 1, I named the receivers that were on the roster. And like I said, everybody was wondering, would they actually even lose a game? And then everything turned. Like I said, I gave, what happened with each situation, and traded Demaryius Thomas, having to release Antonio Brown, eventually trading Josh Gordon. So you're left with Julian Edelman. And then in midseason, the Patriots made a trade that just didn't work out. It didn't work out. I mean, to be honest with you, the only reason, honestly, why the Patriots really made the playoffs is because the first half of their schedule was so easy. I told you guys this, that they were playing bottom feeders, and that when their schedule got into November, they were going to see some real shit. They were going to see some real teams. And that's what happened. Like the 49ers. When we started realizing that, hey, the 49ers are a damn good team, it was mostly predicated off of defense and running the ball. Here's the difference between the Patriots and the 49ers. The 49ers made the right trade. The Patriots didn't. The 49ers traded for Emmanuel Sanders, who has never been the predominant number one in his career, but he is. If he's not a number one receiver, he's a 1A receiver, and has been able to open up things for the other weapons in San Francisco. The Patriots went and got Mohamed Sanu, who I run faster than. No! So it's simple. It's really, really that simple. Because what were we saying about the 49ers before the trade for Emmanuel Sanders?
These nuts.
They're winning, and they're winning, but the main reason why they're winning is not Jimmy Garoppolo. And that ties into the Patriots as well. if this is it for Tom Brady, you had a succession plan in there, but Tom Brady went behind Bill Belichick's back. He ran to the principal office, a.k.a. the owner, and said, I want Garoppolo gone.
Old tattletale ass
Because
nigga.
Bill Belichick, while he's a cheating son of a bitch, he is a smart one at that too. He realized that the clock is ticking on his Hall of Fame quarterback, and it's time to start looking in another direction. There has to be a succession plan. Now, yes, after Brady ran to the principal's office, they have been to 3 straight Super Bowls. They have won 2 of those 3 Super Bowls. This is true. But if Tom Brady leaves, who you got? Who you got? And if Tom Brady stays, and indeed he is an old Tom Brady, not the old Tom Brady, you're screwed anyway. So this is what I would propose, and I don't think anybody's thought of this. If I was Tom Brady, I would go ahead and get the hell out of Dodge. Go ahead, bounce. I mean, it's not like he'd be the first great player in sports history who made his mark with one team but finished his career with another. I mean, come on. It happens in sports all the time. It does. I mean, Brett Favre went to the Jets and then the Vikings after all the years with the Packers. We all know Joe Montana, who in a lot of people's eyes is still the GOAT, didn't finish his career with the 49ers. He finished with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, Michael Jordan. We all know Michael Jordan is a Chicago Bull, not the Washington Wizards version he finished his career with. You know, O.J. Simpson, we know him as a Buffalo Bill, not the San Francisco 49ers. And speaking of 49ers, another one, Jerry Rice. We know him for being the greatest wide receiver, maybe the greatest football player ever in a San Francisco uniform. Finished his career ultimately with the Seattle Seahawks after a productive stop in Oakland. Actually, technically, he was a Denver Bronco when he retired. Technically. But if I was Tom Brady, I would go. Now, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about Tom Brady going to the Los Angeles Chargers. For one, they haven't said that they weren't bringing Phillip Rivers back. But I wouldn't go there. I understand why, because he's from California. I get it. But if you're Tom Brady, I'm thinking strictly on a football acumen. If you want to see if Tom Brady still has 75% of Tom Brady left, and you put him with a team loaded with weapons who has a hole at quarterback. If I was Tom Brady, I would go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, think about it. You have Bruce Arians as your coach. You have Mike Evans, Godwin, Perriman, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate. Are you joking? I would think about that. I would seriously consider Tampa Bay because they're loaded. Mike Evans and Perriman were head over heels the number 1 wide receiver combo in the NFL. And I'm saying Keenan Allen is good. He's a Pro Bowler. Mike Williams, he seems to be trending up. But like I said, I know they're going to be in a new stadium in California. But I'm telling you, go to Tampa. If I'm Tom Brady, go to the Buccaneers. And then on top of that, you be in the same division as Drew Brees and Matt Ryan? What? Oh, man. That would be fun. That would be fun. And all we're hearing is this the end of the Patriots dynasty? I sure as hell hope so. I mean, I really do. I really, really hope so. I mean, call me a Patriots hater all you want. I don't give a fuck. I mean, now, do they warrant the attention that they're getting? Yes, they do, because unlike some other bum-ass teams that do nothing but hog attention with no results, the Patriots actually do deserve it because they have been winning, and they've been winning for a long time. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, yes, the Patriots were defeated by the Tennessee Titans. All right. And that was the late game Saturday. The early game Saturday, the Buffalo Bills were up 16-0 over the Houston Texans. They were just flat out outplaying the Texans. And then the Texans just stormed back and win the game 22-19 in overtime. Deshaun Watson had to put that cape on. He had to do his thug thizzle. He had to get them boys out of the first round. Now, what I wasn't understanding was everybody trying to put on this pressure on Deshaun Watson saying, If he doesn't win this playoff game, if he loses to Josh Allen, he will just be known as a regular season quarterback. This is Deshaun Watson's second career playoff game. This is third season. He's won the division twice. This is his second career playoff game. And all of a sudden, that's what we're going to have him known as, is just a regular season quarterback? Come on, man. Peyton Manning came into the league in 1998 and didn't get his first playoff victory until 2003. Peyton Manning lost to Jay Fiedler and Chad Pennington before he ever won a playoff game. Look it up. I mean, come on. So let's pump the brakes. Deshaun did what Deshaun does. He makes shit happen. 20 of 25, 247 yards and a touchdown, and 55 yards rushing and a touchdown on the ground as well. And with all due respect, Josh Allen played a hell of a game. The Buffalo Bills quarterback. He had a great game. He did. 24 for 46, 264 yards, no touchdowns, but had 92 yards rushing, and he also had a 16-yard receiving touchdown. I mean, come on, man. Make it seem like losing to Josh Allen would have been the worst thing in the world. If Buffalo was the better team that day, which they were for about 2/3 of the game, but if they were the better team for the full game, then they would have deserved to win. I would have been more worried for Bill O'Brien, not Deshaun Watson. Deshaun ain't going anywhere. Because this was looking like the second year in a row where you got smacked around in your home turf in a wild card playoff game. But like I said, Deshaun do what Deshaun do, and that's make shit happen. So the AFC South definitely represented on Saturday for their conference. Houston advances, Tennessee advances. We set up the AFC. So since the Houston Texans, who were a 4 seed, beat the Buffalo Bills, which was a 5 seed, they're moving on, but their destination, their fate was sealed by what happened with the Patriots and the Titans. So the Patriots, who were a 3rd team, losing to the lowest seed, which was the Tennessee Titans, who were a 6th seed. The Titans will go play the highest seed remaining. They will go to Baltimore and play the 14-2 Ravens, and we have a rematch of a regular season game this season between the Chiefs and the Texans. Very intriguing matchups. I'll get to them in a second. Now to the NFC side. The early game was the Minnesota Vikings and the New Orleans Saints. Boy, oh boy. You know, when New Orleans loses, they can't just lose. It's got to be some kind of controversy that comes with it. New Orleans was a heavy favorite, the biggest favorite of the weekend, at home to the Minnesota Vikings. And correct me if I'm wrong, don't the Vikings and the Saints play some great playoff games? I mean, they play some classics. The last 3 times they played in the playoffs, they have been absolutely phenomenal games, starting with the 2009 NFC Championship game, Breeze versus Brett Favre, overtime, Saints win. 2 years ago, the Minneapolis Miracle, I was about to say the Music City Miracle, the Minneapolis Miracle, on the last play of the game, the Vikings win. And then a couple of days ago in overtime, Kirk Cousins hits Kyle Rudolph in the end zone on the first drive of overtime to give the Vikings the win, the first career playoff win for Kirk Cousins. But here's where the controversy is. Okay, was that pass interference on Kyle Rudolph or not? Because remember, they put the rule in where you can review a pass interference because of what happened at last year's NFC Championship game with Mikael Roby-Coleman's blatant pass interference. Now, if you watch the replay, I'ma be objective with you. If you watch the replay, by the letter of the law, that was definitely offensive pass interference. He extended his arm, he pushed off so he could create space to catch that touchdown pass. Now, here is the difference. And it's crazy because that's a call that you would probably make in the first quarter, but you're not going to make with the game on the line. Because it wasn't like he pushed dude to the ground. Look, maybe if the defender had a flopped, he'd have got the flag. But it's not like he pushed him to the ground. He gave him a nudge at the very last second, gave him a push at the very last second, and that was offensive pass interference. Yes, it was. But are you calling it? Because obviously they didn't. And then they looked, I mean, they didn't even review it, but after the game, I mean, which to me was pointless, the NFL came out with a statement saying we didn't see enough to warrant a foul being called. Both guys were hand fighting, which is true. And if you actually look slow motion at Kyle Rudolph pushing, you can see the defender for the Saints still has a grasp of Kyle Rudolph's hand if you actually pay attention to that. I mean, you know, the Saints, Sean Payton didn't cry spilt milk this time. I probably think he's more hurt because, like, I had my man Tony on the show last time, and he said the Saints were coming out to win the Super Bowl, going to come out the NFC. And he called me on Sunday after the game, and I said, well, so much for the Saints. And, you know, you had bad mismanagement. You know, Sean Payton got out-coached. Drew Brees got outplayed, to be honest with you. Kirk Cousins played excellent, particularly when they needed him to. 19 for 31, 242 yards, and a touchdown. No interceptions. Doesn't Adam Thielen make a big difference when he's back? As does Dalvin Cook. They are dangerous when they are fully healthy. And you have a competent Kirk Cousins. I mean, Drew Brees didn't do anything spectacular. 26 for 33, 208 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The spark plug for the Saints was Taysom Hill. You know, he was the guy who was giving them all of the life on their offense. And it wasn't even Michael Thomas. It wasn't Alvin Kamara. It was Taysom Hill. Dude threw for a 50-yard pass. He ran for 50 yards. He caught a touchdown pass. He caught a 20-yard touchdown pass. You know, Taysom Hill is what Tim Tebow would have been had Tim Tebow not been so gung-ho saying, no, I'm only going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's exactly the player that Tim Tebow would have been, Taysom Hill. That's the exact type of player he would have been. So, but for the Saints, heartbreak again. Heartbreak again. I mean, you know, you've had a 3-year run where we all know you got robbed last year. You know, we all know that. But you've had a 3-year run where you haven't gotten it done. And Drew Brees is actually a free agent coming up, and he's about to be 41 years old. Now, unlike the Patriots, the Saints do appear to have a succession plan in place if Drew Brees decides to move on, or even if he decides to come back for another year, because we all saw what Sean Payton was able to do with Teddy Bridgewater. And Teddy Bridgewater, you know, he ain't no stranger. He's been a Pro Bowl starting quarterback that took a team to the playoffs before. And he's only, about 26 years old. So there is a succession plan in place for New Orleans should they decide to hang on to Teddy. And I definitely would advise it. I would definitely advise it. So the Saints are done. Minnesota moves on. The late game was the Seattle Seahawks at the Philadelphia Eagles, the banged-up Eagles. And it was a defensive struggle. It really played out pretty much like the first game that they had, with the Seahawks winning 17-9. But here's the controversy. Carson Wentz, and I felt so bad for him, on their second drive went to run the ball and got pancaked by Jadeveon Clowney, and he had to leave the game with a concussion.
God damn!
Now, initially when I saw it, because I'm not going to lie, I was at my father-in-law's house, and, you know, we were watching the game, but we were also having our own conversation. So, you know, when I watched it initially, I was like, damn, this is like a bang-bang, a bang-bang play. When I watch it in slow-mo, Clowney didn't have to do that, because Wentz was on the way to the ground, and Clowney drove his shoulder and his helmet into the back of Carson Wentz's head. He didn't have to do that.
Biatch.
Initially, and hopefully I can get my man Tony on the phone. Initially, I agreed with Tony, because he said when you're a runner, you're free game. Yes, that is true. That is very true. But, Carson Wentz was tripped up. So it's hard for me to say that if he had a slid, that wouldn't have happened. When he was running, he didn't see it coming. He got tripped up, and he's going to the ground. He's falling to the ground, and as he hits the ground, then Clowney leads with his shoulder and his helmet. I'm not saying Jadeveon Clowney's a dirty player, but that was a dirty play, and it wasn't even a flag. It should have been flagged with something. So he was out the rest of the game. I mean, you're healthy all year, and then you get hurt the second drive of the playoffs. I felt bad for him. And then Josh McCown came in the game, 40 years old, his first playoff game, and McCown didn't play bad. He didn't play bad. As I was watching the game, I said, if the Eagles don't win this game, it's not going to be because Josh McCown is in there, because he was actually moving the offense. Eagles just couldn't get in the end zone. I mean, McCown had him in the fourth quarter a couple of times with chances to get in the end zone and tie the game. And Seattle's defense just stepped up. I mean, look, man, hell of a season for the Eagles, considering the fact that, like I said, they were a patchwork group since week 2. Like I said, man, they were a patchwork job. They had to get a sew-in. They had to use jumper cables and fix a flat, and somehow made the playoffs. So my hat's off to them. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe I can get Sean on the phone as well. But hopefully they'll get younger, and they'll be healthier, and they'll be back. They'll be back. And, incidentally now, Dougie P is now the longest tenured head coach in that division in the NFC East, with the Redskins, Giants, and Cowboys all getting new head coaches. I'll get into that a little later. But still, shout out to the Eagles for just a gritty, gutty season. And you know what? I'm just happy that yesterday on Undisputed, Shannon Sharp shut that hating-ass snake in the grass Orlando Scandrick down. Just embarrassing him on national television, because if you don't know, Orlando Scandrick, who has played the majority of his career with the Dallas Cowboys, was with the Philadelphia Eagles this season to shore up their defensive backfield. Orlando Scandrick got cut by the Philadelphia Eagles because he wasn't getting it done. He's been salty. He's been bitter. He's just been angry ever since, and he's been coming on to national television just trashing the Eagles organization week after week after week after week. He gave it up, gave him props when they won the division after they beat his beloved Cowboys, because he's really a Cowboy at heart. But once again, he came on Undisputed talking shit about the Eagles. And boy, Big Unc took care of business.
They're going to give up big plays, and they're going to let receivers go for 160.
No. But come on, man. Come on, bro.
What? What's the excuse about the defense?
The defense,
what they leaned on.
Their secondary isn't very good. They haven't been good. They benched Darby, who's their number one corner. Teams target. No team target the number one.
No. Darby's hurt. Get on that sheet. Mm-hmm. Look on that sheet.
They put him on IR. He gave up the play early last week on a 3rd and 15, and the next thing you know, he was hurt. He hadn't been hurt. He was hurt.
Darby didn't even play versus the Giants. The last time that Darby played was the Cowboys.
That's what
That wasn't last week.
I'm saying. He got hurt against the Cowboys. He gave up 3rd and 15. Okay. They took him out of the game. The week before that, every game they target Darby.
They all give up 15 yards on 3rd down. Go back and watch the Dolphins.
How about this here? You sitting here talking with me.
Yes.
Because you gave up 30 and 22.
No, you gave up 3rd and 22.
Against the Cowboys.
3rd and 30? You crazy. It was 4th and 1 on one of them, and then it was a slant on 1st and 10. Now we just being blasphemous. Now we just saying anything. You just saying anything at this point.
You here with me.
Correct.
Why?
Because it's 12 years.
Why?
12 years.
Did you play all season? Did you play the whole season?
I did not play all season.
Okay, then. You'll go skip.
But that's not. They got back healthy. They're investing in a lot of guys. They put so much capital into that defense, and it failed you.
The back end wasn't.
I don't care what your excuse is. It's failed. They can come up here with us now. They can all come up here. You want to do round robin? You want to get Malcolm here one day? You want to get Fletcher, and then you want to get Wentz?
They brought Orlando Scandrick in to try to shore up that defense, and he's sitting here
to shore up the defense, no, because they had injuries.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
Let's get Tip's take.
Back to the cheap shot. It was a cheap shot.
Oh, man, I'm going to tell you, you could just tell if you were watching the episode that Shannon was getting so irritated with him. He was just sick of him, because all he does is he kept on telling him, man, you got to get that hate out your heart. You got to get that hate out your heart. And basically, okay, so, I mean, to me, it was hilarious. Now, factually, he was wrong. It wasn't a 3rd and 22, but it doesn't take away from the message. Basically, what Shannon Sharp is saying is, you sitting here mad, salty, talking trash about this organization who this whole season, the biggest weakness of their defense was their secondary, something that you were a part of, and you want to sit here and talk about all of them, but you got cut. Their secondary had been trash all season, so what type of trash is you when you couldn't even stay on the team? You know what I'm saying? He talking about he's not playing anymore because of 12 years. No, I want no 12 years. It's because you couldn't cut it, you bum-ass nigga. I mean, for real, you couldn't. You talking about it's 12 years. No, it's because you suck.
Biatch.
It's that simple. You suck. You got cut. You got cut by a team with arguably the worst secondary in football. What does that say about you, Orlando Scamdrick?
Get your damn act
Damn
together.
snake in the grass. I hate niggas like that, man. I mean, that's crazy. He just mad and he's salty and he want to go and talk shit. Oh, they ain't do this, they ain't do that. Guess what? They still playing. They still getting a check. Where your bum ass at? Now you probably ain't even going to be on Undisputed because Shannon's sick of your ass. And ain't no NFL team going to sit there and pick you up, not after the way that you done acted with a organization. Ain't nobody going to trust you. Ain't nobody going to trust you. So good riddance, goodbye, sucker ass. So now what do we have with the NFC matchup?
These nuts.
We have the, excuse me, with the Saints' upset loss to the Vikings, who were the lowest seed. The Vikings will go to the highest seed, which is the San Francisco 49ers. They will play the 49ers. And the Seahawks will go to Green Bay and play the Packers. Now, it is prediction time, all right? It's prediction time, at least on my end, because I like these matchups. The games start Saturday. The first game is Minnesota at San Francisco. Minnesota at San Francisco, 4:35 Saturday. And I'm going to go with the 49ers. Even though the Vikings are healthy, and I think they're a tough out for anybody when they're healthy, the 49ers have had a chance to rest now. That defensive line gets a bit healthier. I'm not going to trust Kirk Carr. I'm not going to trust Kirk Cousins to go in and win this game. I am, even now, this is Jimmy Garoppolo's first playoff start. This is Kyle Shanahan's first playoff game as a head coach. But I'm going to roll with the Niners. And then the second game, which is a very, very interesting game, it is Saturday night, 8:15, the Tennessee Titans at the Baltimore Ravens. This might be the quickest game in the history of the NFL because these two teams' offense is based on their running attack. You're not going to see very many incomplete passes, I don't think. This game starts at 8:15. It might be over with by 10. I'm serious. It may be. It's a dangerous game for the Baltimore Ravens. Look, I'm not I'm not an analytics guy. I hate analytics in sports. So while I said the Tennessee Titans earlier in the season was boring, I mean, that's because Marcus Mariota was boring. Now, in part, to beat the Patriots, Ryan Tannehill had a Marcus Mariota type of a game. But their offense has been more dynamic since Tannehill took over. People have said, well, Tannehill's not the long-term answer. I would actually beg to differ. I could see him getting a nice contract extension to stay in Tennessee. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. I mean, they've actually averaged over 30 points a game since he has taken over for Mariota. But this is a dangerous game because I'm not an analytics guy, and Tennessee plays 1950s football. We're going to give our big, burly beast of a running back the ball and try to stop him if you can. The Patriots couldn't do it. They simply could not do it. And then on the other side, you got the MVP, whose birthday it is today. He hasn't officially been named the MVP, but we know he's going to win the MVP. And I'll say it again, as I've been saying it since last season, the Lamar Jackson era is here! Yes, it is. But this is a dangerous, dangerous game because Tennessee does everything well. They do. They're a tough team. You talk about a team that embodies their head coach, Mike Vrabel has got a tough, gritty, bulldog tough squad in Tennessee. And if Derrick Henry gets smoking, I mean, what can you do? What can you do? I mean, you know, this dude is going to be looking for a nice fat payday. And now he's only been popping for the last 2 years because the first couple of years he was splitting carries with DeMarco Murray. But this guy, I mean, he's a tank running at you. He's a damn linebacker running at you. And, I mean, but on the other side, you got Baltimore's league-leading rushing attack. Now, I'm not going to lie. I don't think you're going to see much of Mark Ingram. With a calf injury, I just don't see it. I don't think Mark Ingram should play for the rest of the season. He's really running the risk of having a serious ACL injury, which at his age, at his position, being running back, could do it for his career. So I think you may see him a couple of times. I think you'll see more Gus Edwards than Mark Ingram. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am on this one. But even still, Gus Edwards is more than serviceable. And this is gonna be it. This is gonna be a close game. This is gonna be a close game. But I'm gonna roll with the Ravens. I'm gonna roll with Baltimore. And the Sunday games, another interesting game. 3:05 game, Houston at Kansas City. Now, Houston has gone to Kansas City and won this season. Deshaun Watson has pulled that off. This is going to be a very, very, and this, to me, this is going to be the best game of this wild card, of this divisional weekend. I really believe that, because this is a showdown between Deshaun and Patrick Mahomes. With the Patriots losing, you messed up a chance to see Deshaun versus Lamar Jackson, but the hell, I don't care. I don't care. I just wanted the Patriots the fuck out of here. Okay. So this is going to be tough because Kansas City's defense has improved, particularly over the last month of the season. The Chiefs are healthy, man. They're healthy. When they're healthy, they're hard to stop. But does that mean that they can stop Deshaun Watson? This may be a game of whoever has the ball last is going to win. And I've called the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl, so I have to stick with them. I'm rolling with the Chiefs. The last game on divisional playoff week is Seattle at Green Bay. I'm going with the Seahawks. Quite simple. I believe the winner, to me, the winner of the Eagles-Seahawks game was going to go to Green Bay and win. And that's not me trying to disrespect Green Bay. With Green Bay, I just have to see it. I know they're a good football team. Obviously, 13-3. It's a great football team. But right now, I'm trusting Russell Wilson over Aaron Rodgers. I am. I'm trusting Seattle's defense over Green Bay's defense. I'm trusting Seattle's defense over Green Bay's offense. So I'm rolling with Russell Richmond. And I think the NFC Championship game is going to be a game between two bitter rivals, NFC West showdown in San Francisco. I believe it's going to come down to the 49ers and Seahawks with the right to go to the Super Bowl. And in the AFC, it's going to come down to, two young, dynamic quarterbacks and Lamar Jackson, who will be this year's MVP, against Patrick Mahomes, who was last year's MVP. So, buckle up, motherfuckers. Excuse my language, but buckle up. It's about that time. It's about that time. And now I will get into the area of these new NFL coaches. And what we're finding out about these NFL coaches is that the Rooney Rule is an absolute joke. It is an absolute joke. The Dallas Cowboys, they announced that they are moving on from Jason Garrett and they are hiring Mike McCarthy. Okay, all right, fine. The Carolina Panthers, they have hired. The Carolina Panthers are hiring Baylor's head coach, Matt Rule, and he's getting like $60 million. Okay. Well, he was a head coach at Baylor. All right. The games at Baylor that I watched, they were blowing leads to Oklahoma, but I mean, still, they were a top 10 school. The Redskins have hired Ron Rivera to be their coach. I think that's a good move with Jack Del Rio as their defensive coordinator. So I think the Redskins will be tough. And then the New York Giants have announced today that they are finalizing a deal with the Patriots wide receivers coach, Joe Judge. Joe Judge, wide receivers coach. First thing I thought of was, who in the hell is that? Joe Judge. And what the issue that I'm having is that the Rooney Rule is an absolute joke. These dudes are coming out of the woodwork getting these head coaching jobs. And you know, I would like to know, what black positions coach is going to leapfrog a coordinator position to get a head coaching job? I'll wait. And it's not me trying to play the race card, but it's like, you have got the complexion for the connection. Okay, this guy, Joe Judge, he's 38 years old. He's been the wide receivers and special team coach for New England. He's worked with Belichick for 8 years, and that's after working with Nick Saban in Alabama. Clearly, he has some good connections. Clearly, he has some powerful references. But my man's was the wide receiver coach for the team where their biggest weakness was the wide receivers. Duh. And he got a head coaching job in New York? Really? So we interview Chris Richard from Dallas, black defensive coordinator. Nothing. Dallas interviews Marvin Lewis. And this is, but what I mean, this is, they're interviewing these black guys just because they can say they did. That's it. They can say, well, we interviewed a minority head coaching, we interviewed a minority head coaching candidate. He just didn't fit the bill of the culture we're trying to set and all of that other bullshit. I mean, there's a way to get around everything. There really is. I mean, what is going? I'm gonna tell you exactly what's going on. This is 30 white billionaires, because the Green Bay Packers don't have an owner, and Shad Khan is of Middle Eastern descent for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this is 30 white billionaires clearly saying, you're not gonna tell us who the hell we hire. You're not gonna tell us what the hell to do. So they're technically going by the rules, but the majority of them, they ain't interested in getting, come on. Matt Rule from Baylor. John Judge, a wide receivers coach. Come on. Matt LaFleur, whose offense was 27th ranked in the league before he got the job with Green Bay. He's done a good job, don't get me wrong. And Cliff Kingsbury, who was a under 500 coach in college. Dude had a losing record in college, but he's the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. And Steve Wilkes, a black man, got 1 year before he was shown the door. Come on, bruh. Really? All these 30 white billionaires are doing is saying, interview a black guy. Interview a black guy. Call me, let me know when it's done. And in the meantime, they'll go off and get some head and pop a bottle of champagne on their fucking yacht. I mean, for real. We got 3 black head coaches, 4 head coaches of color. You add Ron Rivera. This is a rule that is going backwards. Last year, the 2018 season, we had Mike Tomlin, Anthony Lynn, and I'm saying this off the top of my head. I don't have any information in front of me, but I believe it's Mike Tomlin, Anthony Lynn, Marvin Lewis, Hugh Jackson, Vance Joseph, Steve Wilkes. Those are 6 African-American coaches, and Ron Rivera, who is of Hispanic descent, was 7. We have gone so backwards in the span of 365 days. All we got is Mike Tomlin, Anthony Lynn, Brian Flores, who wasn't a coach last year. He was a defensive coordinator who was the coach of the Miami Dolphins, who did a damn good job because we were wondering how historically bad this team was going to be. Brian Flores went 5-4 the last 9 games of the season for a Dolphins team that just looked like they were tanking. But we got Tomlin, Anthony Lynn, Brian Flores, Ron Rivera. That's it. And one more coaching vacancy left, Cleveland Browns. That's it. The Rooney Rule is a joke. It is a flat-out joke. There are ways around everything in a league that is 75% black. And do you know why that is? Because while the league is 75% African American, as far as players are going, the people who are doing the hiring and the firing are hiring people that looks like them and that they're more comfortable with. Because they want to set the right culture, which is what the Giants have been saying now all of a sudden, the right culture. But Dave Gettleman is still there. Really? But Dave Gettleman is still the GM for the Giants. All right. Okay. And possibly bringing in Jason Garrett as an offensive coordinator, which is smart. I mean, it's a smart thing to do. You're gonna have a first-time head coach. You might as well bring in a coach as a coordinator that has head coaching experience. Jason Garrett was coach for Dallas for almost 10 years. You know, they did it with the Rams when they hired Sean McVay. They brought in Wade Phillips, veteran defensive coordinator, had a couple of head coaching gigs. But this rule is a joke. It's like the NFL is accepting black coaches at arm's length. You know, it's the same thing that black quarterbacks had to go through. You know, it's like it's crazy because it's like they insult our intelligence. Right to our face would say, hey, well, we gave somebody a fair interview. Yeah, right. How is Jim Caldwell not a coach? How? How is Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, how is he not getting a head coaching job? But the wide receivers coach from the Patriots, who we even forgot that they had wide receivers, just gets a job in New York City. Get the fuck out of here. Are you joking? Come on, man. Just slap me in the face and tell me the sky is green and tell me to look up. See, it's green, right? Slap. It's green, isn't it? Come on, man. Like, what is that? And like I said, it's the same thing that black quarterbacks had to go through. They didn't think black quarterbacks had the intelligence enough to run an offense or to be leaders of men. Boy, that time has changed. Who's the 4 best quarterbacks in football this past season? Not just the 4 best black quarterbacks, the 4 best quarterbacks in football this past season. They're all still playing. Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. They were the 4 best quarterbacks in football this year, and they're still playing. And we're in the second round of the playoffs. And they all black. But apparently ain't enough respect on our name when it comes to giving us head coaching jobs, or at least letting us hang on to them. Yeah, boy. That's all I got to say about that. It's some bullshit. It is. It is some bullshit. But like I said, you've got 30 white billionaires saying you ain't telling us what to do. And that's real. That's real. I mean, we already don't have a black owner. Good luck on that one too. But, hey, it is what it is. Quick NBA news as it is starting to get real in the NBA season. Blake Griffin of the Detroit Pistons is going to be out indefinitely after having knee surgery. The same may end up being said in regards to Kyrie Irving for the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie looks like he may have surgery. Kyrie has been out since mid-November, and I mean it shouldn't surprise you, particularly if you're a Nets fan, because Kyrie is injury prone. I mean he is. I mean you might honestly, if you're the Nets, you know he's not ruling out surgery, but he may get he may see if the arthroscopic surgery will be required if it's needed. So if you're Brooklyn, you may want to look to what carried you to the playoffs last year and just get ready for the 2020-21 season when you'll have Kyrie and Kevin Durant on the floor. Because, I mean, one, you're 16 and 19. So you've taken a step back. You've obviously taken a step back from where you were last year. I mean, it just is what it is. And the Milwaukee Bucks, they still have the best record in the NBA. They did lose last night to the San Antonio Spurs. The Los Angeles Lakers there are rumors that they may possibly trade Kyle Kuzma. Don't understand why, but it wouldn't surprise me. And Kuzma should have his guard up, because he saw what happened to the rest of his young compadres from last season. They ain't there. And I wouldn't get rid of Kyle Kuzma, but like I said, who knows? And just throw the standings out there quickly. Again, the Milwaukee Bucks have the best record in the East. They have the best record in basketball, 32-6, with number 2 being Boston at 25-9. To me, the surprise of the season thus far has been the Miami Heat at the 3rd seed. To me, right now, the disappointment of the season has been the Philadelphia 76ers, who are 5th with Toronto at 4th. Indiana, they just always play solid. They're the 6th seed. Orlando 17-20, and of course Brooklyn has the last seed. So maybe you can depend on Kyrie, maybe you can't. And then the Western Conference, the Lakers have the best record, 29-7. The Nuggets, they're starting to surge. They're 25-11. The Rockets 24-11. The Clippers 26-12. So it's a battle for that between the 2nd and 4th spot in the Western Conference. Utah 24-12, Dallas 23-13, Oklahoma City. I told you this team was going to overachieve with Chris Paul on the roster. I know it was nothing. It wasn't a roster that would jump out and anybody would get excited about. But with this type of a roster, where clearly Chris Paul is the alpha male, he can make some things happen. When the season started, I fully expected the Thunder to make the playoffs. I did, because they have pretty good players. Shea Alexander, Danilo Gallinari. You still got Steven Adams. You still got Grant. You have and then you have CP3 up in there, and Schroeder. So they're number 7 seed, and it's quite a dip between 7 and 8. San Antonio is 15-20. I think that just might be the year that the Spurs actually missed the playoffs. Right behind them at 9 and 10, well, tied for 9, is Memphis and Portland. I think Portland will go on a run and sneak into the playoffs. But yeah, that's quick NBA news. So with that being said, what a buzzer, what a buzzer, what a buzzer! Okay, haven't had much life topics other than just having, given season greetings. Have you guys watched the R. Kelly, the second Surviving R. Kelly? Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. It kind of reminded me of the first one. I know they were showing some things that happened, after the first docu-series came out. But it's just like, so basically what they were showing is the fear tactics that apparently R. Kelly and his camp were trying to impose on these women with the knowledge of this documentary coming out. And they ain't gonna stop until they see this. They gonna see this thing all the way through. They gonna have a part 3 documentary when his ass is found guilty and the sentencing and all that other stuff. That shit gonna be called Surviving D-Block. I mean, for real, they ain't playing no games, man. And these girls, I mean, I feel bad for them, but and then there's another side of me that's just like, you know, by this time, especially, you know, the recent women, you knew what this dude was. I mean, it was no secret. You knew what he did. You know what I'm saying? You knew the rumors of what he did. You know, that pissing tape happened a long time ago. You know what I mean? That was a long time ago. You know, and he was already on trial. I mean, he was already on trial for that years later. So you knew that this dude had an agenda if he was able to reel you in. You knew that. You know, but you can't sit here and tell me that they didn't see the money. They say, no, I love Rob. He was my life. And that may very well have been. Because if you're a person, he appears to be a person who will just straight up, you know, suck you dry if you had any type of self-esteem issues. Any type. But even then, you know, common freaking sense. Common freaking sense when you knew that this dude had a rep. And like I said, R. Kelly, he did it to himself. You know what I mean? Now, when I would see the girls who were interviewed that would say, so-and-so met R. Kelly at age of 20. Man, I honestly won't pay attention to that. Because the thing with me is the underage women. I mean, abuse is messed up either way, no matter what your age is. But I don't need to see you on no damn docuseries and you a grown-ass woman, you know, by law. You know, and when I would see that, I'd be like, well, damn, R. Kelly, you were showing some promise. You know, you would see, you know, you see a girl that he met when she was 20 or 24, and you're like, okay, you know, let's not sit here, even though he might have been in his 40s, his late 40s, let's not sit here and act like we don't know of several relationships where there's an age gap of about 20 years, 30 years. We know it happens. We may not feel comfortable with it, but if you're an adult, if you a 21-year-old adult and your boyfriend is 45, yeah, it might be a little weird, but guess what? You can do that. It's nothing, you know, nothing against the law as far as that goes. So when I saw that with R. Kelly, I'm like, okay, he with a legal chick. There you go, Kelly. There you go. Then the next chick met R. Kelly when I was 16. Damn, no, man, no, don't take a step backwards. Damn it. So he did it to himself, man. You know, it just, I don't know. But anyway, this has been another episode of Sports Plus Life. This is the first episode of 2020, the first of many. Again, if this is your first time listening, definitely hit that subscribe button and become part of that Sports Plus Life family. It's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. I'm definitely going to get back at you soon. Peace.